If he doesn't come on any sooner, we're going to have to talk a little bit about the Phillies because they're getting some attention again, and maybe trying to get people to still believe as they head into September. But there he is, D Gunn at the Real D Gunn on Twitter, joining us from a library. It looks like.
Oh, were you guys speaking ill of me? Is that what I heard?
Barrett was.
He always does.
I hate to do it. I hate to do it to you, man. But if I'd have said, "Well, I thought you meant tomorrow," you'd be like, "See, there you go with that typical athlete stuff, Barrett. You're not an athlete anymore. You got to stop acting like you're an athlete. You know what I meant today."
It's true. Current athletes and former athletes are synonymous in one regard. Whatever they tell you, don't believe them. Unless there's money or a car involved.
Right.
9 times out of 10, don't believe anything they tell you in terms of, I'll be there. No, they won't. No, they won't.
Oh, I'm supposed to be talking about you like this. You're not talking to me like this. I was here on time.
Well, I got to get my shots in before you do.
Right.
So, I'm just saying. So.
But hold on. I called him, right? And we sit next to his wife and his daughter. So as soon as I call him, they answer the phone. Guess what he said? She said, his wife said, "Well, who was that?" And his daughter said, "Barrett." I said, "Well, how do you know? How do you know?" Because you're the only person he talks to.
See, that's not true. See, Barrett and I talk like maybe once every 2 to 3 weeks. But since we've gone our separate ways, I have to initiate conversation because, Barrett forgot about me. But it's okay, though. It's quite okay.
I called and I texted you asking about your family, how you guys were doing down there. Did the bad weather come?
Well, did you survive the storm okay, Derrick?
Yeah, I'm looking outside. I'm in my wife's office, and we're dry as a bone down here, but I've been watching the morning news in the Philadelphia area, north of Philly, New Jersey. They're saying it hasn't had this much water in the streets in 150 years. And then I saw an overhead shot of the Schuylkill where the water's cresting all the way to 76, and a lot of the houses of Boathouse Row are submerged in water. I'm like, I've never seen this, and wow. And then, of course, to all the people out there affected by the hurricane in Mullica Hill, praying for you. I saw some of the devastating damage in that area, and wow, you wake up one morning, everything's fine. The next morning, your house is gone, your possessions are thrown all over the neighborhood. Wow. So by the grace of God down here where I am, we got a lot of rain, but no flooding. So I'm so blessed in that regard. Woo.
Well, that's good to hear. I know they moved the Temple football game. Then Temple's supposed to play Rutgers at Rutgers. They had 40,000 strong ready to sell out, and now they got to move the game to Saturday.
Wow. And then you hear about the Hurricane Ida that hit Louisiana.
Right.
And that was last week. They're moving the Saints game, I believe, to Tampa.
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville. They're going to Jacksonville against Green Bay down to Jacksonville. Wow. So, and we just got the aftermath. So I can't even begin to imagine what Louisiana is like. It's funny because not funny, but when Katrina hit, my crew and I, we went down to New Orleans later that season for the Eagles game, and it was still pretty devastating. And we went down to the 9th Ward, one of the more heavily hit areas, and it's one of the few times in my life that I was speechless. It's one thing to see it on TV, but another thing to actually walk amongst devastation like that. And man, I tell you what, when Mother Nature rears her anger, there's no holds barred in terms of what could happen.
No, it lets you know how really inconsequential we are and what we do is too. But I know you got this live post-game show coming up here on JAKIB Media. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, you guys know Joe Kraus, who owns JAKIB Media. He approached me this summer and asked me would I be interested in being a part of a 2-hour post-game show, live post-game show on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. And I said, of course, I'm always looking for a new challenge and stuff like that. And then he started asking me about some people who I thought would be good for the show. And I immediately thought of Mark Farzetta. Farzetta and I have a long history together working at NBC Sports Philadelphia. I think he's very talented, very versatile, colorful, animated. And so I thought it would be a natural fit. And then, of course, Joe decided to add John McMullen, who's a great guy, a great writer, and a Devin Caney, who we're starting to get to know a little bit about. Devin, of course, covers the Professional Lacrosse League. And so, they teamed us 4. And then keep your fingers crossed, because as of right now, I got Lane Johnson to he'll latch on after every game by way of phone, whether it's just audio or video and audio. Once he gets out of the locker room, I said, Lane, you can't be in the locker room when you come on. Audio fine, but you can't come on video in your locker room, man, because this is a family show, man. If you guys know, having been in locker rooms, hey, there's stuff moving around there.
Right.
The general consensus doesn't need to see it. So,
Right.
So Lane has been gracious enough to say he'll do it. That's today. We'll see. Keep your fingers crossed. Who knows?
Okay.
I love Lane to death, but I'm looking forward to it. It's a different concept for me, being a part of a 4-person panel. But I get to do what I love to do, which is talk football and talk football with knowledgeable people. So I'm looking forward to it and having some fun. It'll be on after every Eagles game, right after every Eagles game on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel for 2 hours. So all you guys and gals out there listening and watching right now, we hope you tune in each and every game day for us on the JAKIB Media Network.
I'll tell you, that sounds like a great show. I can't wait to watch it after the Atlanta game. But that was one of the things that I used to always look forward to the most after Eagles games. And that's why a lot of times I wouldn't go to the game, because I wanted to watch stuff immediately afterwards. And seeing you in the concourse right outside the locker room, getting the players one by one was just fantastic stuff.
It's funny. I've been doing this for so long, but that was the first time when I got here that I had an opportunity to do that on a weekly basis for a network I was working for, to be outside the locker room. And of course, initially back in 1998, when my bosses asked me to take over covering the Eagles full time, you don't know what to expect. I'm still learning the players are still learning me. But it just so happened that at that time was a cast between 98 and 99. It was such a cast of colorful characters. You had the Hugh Douglases there, and then all of a sudden it was the John Runyons would come in, Hollis Thomases, and sure left it's Corey Simon, Ike Reese, all these guys, Chad Lewis.
You notice you didn't say Barrett Brooks? Ain't this about nothing?
He's getting there.
Well, wait, did you play there? I don't remember.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Barrett didn't say a whole lot back then. He was very quiet. Now, is that true or not?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the guys that would come on the show, all I had to do was hold a microphone up, and it was like Comedy Central. They took over. They were class clowns. They were all about business between the stripes. But the show took on a whole life of its own, and I'm like, wait a minute. Instead of just talking X's and O's, we can have some fun with this. So we started talking about wardrobe, shoes, jewelry that guys were wearing. And people gravitated towards that stuff because people in this region had never seen that before.
Right.
When you watch national shows, there's always a quick interview, a 2-minute interview with the player. Thank you very much. Goodbye. But we took it to a different level, and that was basically because of the players. Troy Vincent, all these guys, Bobby Taylor. These guys were camera ready, and all I had to do was hold a mic and ask a simple question, and it took on a whole new life on its own. And then, of course, when that wave of players left, here comes a whole new influx of players, the Sheldon Browns, the Lito Shepherds, guys like that. And it just kept going and kept going. Now, of course, the last few years, as the team got younger after they made the transition from Chip Kelly, you had a bunch of younger guys in there who were afraid to say much. So it was a little bit more difficult to try to extract personality out of them. But all of a sudden, Brandon Graham all of a sudden took it. That wasn't, people have asked me, was that scripted between us? That was as organic as it could possibly be. And it started with that joker sitting right there with you. I didn't know this. Harry, I'm sure we've told this story, but I didn't know what was going on until a year afterwards when Brandon Graham all of a sudden started this, where's D Gunn after every game, preseason game, home game, away game. I'm like, and his teammates are looking at him like, who's D Gunn? Where's D Gunn at? Wrong again, D Gunn. And I'm trying to figure out what is he talking about. And then when I would have him on, he would tell me, yeah, I heard you picked against us this week. And I'm like, who told you this? Oh, I got my sources. Don't worry about it. But then again, he was on that Breakfast Abroad show.
Right. Yep.
And this knucklehead here would tell him, D Gunn's picking. Even when I would pick, Even when I would pick the Eagles that week, this knucklehead would tell them, D-Gun picked against you again.
D-Gun took the Redskins.
Yeah. And I'm like, no, I didn't. So it took on a life of its own. And, like people are still, people are still asking, hey, D-Gun, are you going to be on Postgame again? Are you going to do something with Brandon Graham again? Hey, who knows? Who knows what the future holds? But it was unbelievable. And of course, me being me, I just ran with it. It could be 50, 60, 70 media people in the locker room after practice. And he would just try to blast me. D-Gun, you picking against us again this week? What? And his teammates would stand there going like this. And I'm like, hold on, man. You don't know who I picked. Yeah, I know you picked against us. And I'm thinking, okay,
wow.
But it got me notoriety, so it was all fun.
It started out like that. I was sitting there, we're on Breakfast on Broad, and we're sitting there. I'm like, I said, hey man, I don't know what you did to Derrick, man, but why is D-Gun always picking against you, bro? I mean, every single time he always. I mean, I don't think he think y'all can play, man. I don't think he thinks y'all can play.
See, Harry, he do stuff like this.
Yep.
See, and I'm thinking, where's this coming from?
Wow.
And I found out a year after the fact when he finally snitched on himself and told me what happened. And then I went to Brandon. I said, has Bear been feeding you? Oh, yeah, man. Bear's tell me everything. I'm like, okay, here we go. Okay.
You're feeding him great barbecue and all kinds of great food.
Yeah.
And he's feeding the players lies about you.
I let him in my house, Harry.
Yeah.
And Bear will tell you. Bear will tell you when it comes to me, I've had so many people at work, former colleagues and friends. How come you never invited me down to your house for barbecue? And I would tell everybody, I said, me at work is like church and state. I have to keep them separate.
Right.
But somehow this joker found a way to slip in the back door. He sidles up to my wife and my kids.
Right.
Oh, we love Bear. My kids call him Uncle Bear. I don't know how this happened. Even to this day. Hey, invite Uncle Bear. No, I'm not inviting Uncle Bear. No.
I'll get a text.
I see enough of him.
Yes. No.
I get a text. We're inviting you to come down. I know my dad, he already sent you an invite, but we want to make sure he invited you.
Never happened. Never happened.
I'll tell you. Well, we got to ask you about some Eagles stuff here.
Sir.
But I know the people on the stream are wondering what's on the smoker this weekend or the grill.
I don't know if I'm actually grilling. Today, by the way, is my oldest daughter's birthday. Happy birthday.
It's her birthday.
And so,
she's 34 today.
Don't you know you don't tell a woman's age? I'm going to tell her you told.
Wow.
Wait till I tell her. You blasted her on the airwaves.
She looks young. She looks young. So
she does look good. She looks like her daddy.
Thank God for Trish. Thank God for Trish.
No, but my wife and I were deciding we were going to grill today. We were going to grill like chicken thighs, breast, because we know she likes to grill out. I was going to maybe do, simple stuff, burgers, brats, things. But she said, you know what, Dad, let's just order from this Italian place down the road from us, which is really good. And I said, okay, saves us a mess in the kitchen. So that's what we're going to do. As far as the weekend, I'll be doing a lot of work helping my other daughter. My other daughter is taking over the nursery at the church we go to. And so we're redoing the church, repainting it. We took her to IKEA. She bought a bunch of things for kids, preschool kids. So tomorrow and Saturday are work days for me. So Sunday is my day of rest. I'm not grilling anything on Sunday. So I get off scot-free this weekend.
Hey, well, you're not going to get off scot-free right now, man. But just because you're looking at this, you look at the guys on the practice squad right now. Right. There's a lot of veteran guys on here, man. This is not necessarily a practice squad. A lot of these guys really had a hand in playing last year, a lot of reps last year. It could potentially be guys that be looked upon to fill the role this coming season. How are they able to get all these older guys on this practice squad now? What is going on?
Well, it's funny. You're not the first person to ask me this, and so I will preface it by saying this. I'm not going to answer you in a demeaning way, but here is my honest answer. To have the kind of players they have on their practice squad, it tells me, number one, that nobody else wanted them.
Right.
Think about
it. Yeah.
Jordan Howard, Travis Fulgham, John Hightower, nobody else wanted them. So what does that tell me? Look at how many players moved around. Once teams started gutting teams, just players jumping. Hey, none of the Eagles players were moving, did they? So what does that tell you?
guys. We can pick up 2 guys. Marvin Wilson and Keyshawn Johnson.
Okay. You picked up a couple of guys, but the guys you're talking about, did any of them leave?
Nope.
No.
Okay. So that tells you, I think a lot of people perceive Jordan Howard to be beyond his better years. And I don't think people obviously were all that high on a Travis Fulgham and a John Hightower. And that's not a knock against them. That's just the facts. Because if people wanted them, they would have snatched them off the waiver wire. Didn't happen.
Yeah.
So, Travis Fulgham is an interesting one. Here's a guy for a few weeks, man. He became the Pied Piper of Philadelphia, making these great catches. All of a sudden, it was like he was in a witness protection program. You didn't hear from him, didn't see him anymore. John Hightower still has a lot of growing to do, but I don't understand why the Eagles are going with just 5 wide receivers right now and 3 running backs. A little thin at both positions.
Yeah.
When most teams are carrying at least 6 wide receivers and at least 4 running backs. And one of the wide receivers they kept, God bless him, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. What was the comment? Well, basically for his special teams prowess. Really? So you really have 4 pass catchers on your roster right now and a special teams expert? If that was the case, why did you keep track? Don't get me laughing, Barrett. I'm trying to be serious here.
No, that's just to justify the 2nd-round pick.
Yeah, Harry, am I making sense here?
Yeah, you're making perfect sense. Absolutely.
I'm just trying to be as honest as I can. So now you got 4 legitimate pass catchers on the roster, and a guy you hope will snag one every now and then. But I'm just curious at how this roster has come together. There's so many ifs on this roster right now, and it's really intriguing to see how they hit the ground running. First 4 games, tough games, but we're going to find out a lot about this team in the first month of the season.
Well, I know Barrett and Eitan and I have spent a lot of time during the preseason in the month of August talking about the lack of starters playing, minutes in these games. You only have 3 of them. And I get it. You don't want to get anybody hurt, but there's so much newness going on. There's a new staff with a new system and all this kind of stuff. I mean, were you surprised that the starters played so sparingly during August?
Yes, I was, especially when you consider, look at the last week of the preseason. Tom Brady, first ballot Hall of Famer, 7 Super Bowl rings. He played almost a half in the last meaningless game of the preseason.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes, league MVP, Super Bowl champion. Andy Reid had his starters playing into the 3rd quarter in the last preseason games. Now, a number of teams did go the same way Nick Sirianni did in terms of not playing the starters, but those are teams like the Green Bays that have had their head coach in place for a while. The
Ravens.
Players, the Ravens. Yeah. And then what happens? Ravens played the starter, and what happened to the kid, J.K. Dobbins?
Dobbins got hurt. Yeah, he tore his ACL. Yeah.
So I'm not going to chastise Nick Sirianni for holding back his starters, especially when you consider this team has been ravaged by injuries the last couple of seasons. And so this is the healthiest they're going to go into a first game of a season in quite some time. But in terms of the cohesiveness and chemistry, as Harry just alluded to, a new coaching staff, a new quarterback, a young, untested collection of wide receivers, not a lot of depth in the backfield. You hope the offensive line can stay healthy. You have a new left tackle that you're banking on protecting. Your quarterback's blind side. And I think Jordan Mailata has potential, but here's the thing. Jordan Mailata has never played a 16-game schedule against the variety of DNs that he's going to have charging at him and using a variety of moves against him. Mm-hmm. Can he hold down the fort for 16 games? We don't know that. That's one of the many ifs on this team. We don't know what the defense is going to look like. Steve Nelson had a great year in 2019, off year 2020, which Steve Nelson is going to be opposite Darius Slay. The safety position is a little up in the air. Anthony Harris was a great safety, but is he still that guy? In the D line rotation, the young guys have some promise up there, T.Y. McGill and stuff like that, but we got to see them do it, and they're going to get their test. They're going to get their test early because even though Atlanta is under a whole new regime like the Eagles, I've been down to that new dome they play in. That place is loud, and I expect a big contingent of Eagles fans to be there. But, Atlanta's won the last 3 games against the Eagles down there by a margin of 3.3 points. Close games, but you still have Matt Ryan going up against Jalen Hurts. You know, you have Calvin Ridley, and you have a collection of young guys you hope can step up. So there's a lot involved here, but we're going to find out. This is one of the most intriguing years in all the years I've been covering and watching the Eagles.
Yeah, one
of the most intriguing years as this team gets ready to embark on this campaign in 2021.
Well, you know, speaking on, you know, this team and all these uncertainty and, you know, all these first looks at guys in this system, you know, we haven't really seen what the system is for either the defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, and even special teams.
Yeah.
But the head coach in particular, where do you see him? You know, how are you looking at him? You know, I mean, because we just hear Gardner Minshew. This isn't something that he just, you know, all of a sudden came upon as far as this being competitive. You know,
right,
you know what
right.
I'm saying? You know, he played Gardner Minshew during the draft process in a game of horse. So, you know, this isn't something that, you know, just automatically, you know, that just appeared from nowhere as far as him being competitive. So what are you thinking about him and what he's done to this point as a head coach?
I think Nick Sirianni has done a great job in terms of winning his players over. You know, during training camp, he's wearing the players' numbers, a different player's number every week. Players love that kind of stuff. They gravitate towards that stuff. Barrett, as you know, when you're a veteran player and you're about to embark on a whole new different direction with a new coach, you can be a little bit standoffish at times. Like, I want to see what this guy's all about. But I think Nick Sirianni has done a great job in terms of winning these guys over. I like the process of how he will stop a practice at any given moment and make it a teaching moment. You know, it's not about let's do it again, let's do it again. He will single out individuals and let's have a teaching moment. I think players really appreciate that. I think the players in general also appreciate the overall energy of the new coaching staff. You got one coach who's younger than a number of the players on this team. You know, it's crazy. But what we don't know how Nick Sirianni calls a game. We don't know how he's going to be able to use the play clock. Will he handle it well? We don't know what he's going to do in crucial situations, 3rd and inches, 4th and 10. You know, what's he going to do? That remains to be seen. You know, he's been around the game a long time. He's been under some great coaches, especially Frank Reich. Now it's his turn at the wheel. You know, now it's his turn to steer his own ship. So we're going to find out, and we're all going to watch closely how he calls the game. You know, the fact that he kept everything so vanilla when we've heard so many times that he's going to rely heavily on the screen game and the run game. Well, we didn't see a lot of that in the preseason. So he may come out of the gate and completely catch Atlanta off guard with whatever he wants to do, or it could be discombobulated right out of the gate because the starters have had such little time together in a game situation. So, you know, that's another one of the big ifs as we get ready to get into the season.
I was talking to Barrett about this week, and it's apparent every time I hear Sirianni talk, man, he is maybe the most enthusiastic coach I've ever witnessed about that loves football. I mean, he is just so into it.
You know, I think it's such a great transformation in the sense that when he first got here, you know, when he first had his first press conference, it was like he was afraid to say anything. And I'm sure it's overwhelming when you go from a market of maybe having 15 to 20, 25 media people in your face daily to 50, 60, 70 in your face. That can be a little overwhelming. And I'm sure he was groomed by Howie and Jeffrey what to say, what not to say. But now you're starting to see more of his personality as he gets acclimated into being a head coach, meeting with the media a couple of times a week. We're starting to see that. But I love his enthusiasm. You know, when you're coming off the type of season that this team came off of, and you have a number of holdovers from what was basically an embarrassing year, a lot of it, yes, generated by the multitude of injuries. But for a lot of veterans who play this game, not just for money, but to compete at the highest level, it was an embarrassing 2020. So you've got to inject some energy, some liveliness, in practices and daily meetings. And I think he does a great job in terms of doing that to make the practices lighthearted and more fun to be at. You know, what did Zach Ertz say recently when he finally talked? This is the most fun I've had coming to practice in a long time. Yeah. I think that's a direct compliment to the way Nick Sirianni has handled things on the football field.
Maybe that's because the practices are so short too.
Well, that too. Yeah. You know, Barrett, those days of double practices and Lehighs, I bet Barrett would still be playing now. Yeah,
I'd still be playing now, man.
Man, the game has changed, man. Wow, has it changed?
No doubt about it.
At this point, Derrick, just looking at what you see in this whole team, man, can you give me the I know you're gonna say no, but you got to do it for me this time. Can you give me what their win total is, man?
I hate doing predictions.
I know what I'm saying.
I hate doing them.
Well, Barrett's got him at 11, just to let you know. He's 11 wins.
No, I'm saying 9.
That's good. That's good. Bear's a homer.
Yeah, he is.
Bear's a homer. I look at the schedule. First of all, I want to know who decided that the Eagles had the 32nd schedule in the NFL. Supposedly the Eagles have the weakest schedule in the NFL.
Really?
I can't tell.
When you look at the first 4 games,
oh my God!
Look at their division. How much the division has improved in some regards, and then you've got Kansas City, Tampa Bay,
San Francisco, who's
going to be healthy.
Yes,
that 49ers defense. San Francisco likes to bully you on both sides of the football.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to be as optimistic as possible. If this team gets more than 6 or 7 wins, I would be shocked. To be honest, I think it's going to be a shootout type game against Dallas because Dallas is still rebuilding its defense. But I don't think the Eagles can stop Dallas's offense. When you look at that, when you look at the weapons they have, they talk about the 3 receivers: Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, and Amari Cooper. A lot of people forget they got this kid named Cedric Lewis, who's also a pretty good receiver coming off the bench. Now they're running back Tony Pollard, Ezekiel, and say what you want to say. They just picked up Corey Clement.
Mm-hmm.
Corey Clement's a good running back. The fact that he didn't stay with the Giants, I was shocked.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, then you look at what the Giants have done. I forgot they had Kyle Rudolph. Their tight end situation is better.
Galladay.
Yep. The kid Tony they drafted in the first round
from Florida. Yep.
Darius Slayton.
Yeah.
Slayton has killed the Eagles. Sterling Shepard.
It's all about their offensive line.
It's all about their offense, and it's about their quarterback. What will Daniel Jones be in 2021? Mm-hmm. And then, of course, what's going to happen when they face the likes of Tampa Bay, San Francisco, and Kansas City.
Yeah.
So Barrett, I know you're optimistic, and I know you're still on the Eagles' payroll in some way, shape, or form. So you got to say what you got to say. I get it, but I'm trying to be optimistic. Barrett said 9 wins.
11.
Yeah, that's because Barrett has this ongoing concussion that he doesn't talk about. But that's another story. That's another story.
Well, our stream just said that Dave Spadaro called. He said 11 wins is too much.
Wait, Spud?
Yeah.
Spud said 11 wins is too much?
Yes.
Does Spud still have a job? Is he still employed? Spud, I love you, man, for being honest. I do. I think people are excited about the new direction of this team, but I think if you pull back the reins a little bit and as you guys know, in the NFL, you win a game, you're not expected to win. You lose a game, you weren't expected to lose. There's a balance there. I just don't see. I don't like the Eagles' offensive line depth. If any one of those first 5 guys go down, I'm not comfortable. With the line that the guys backing up, they're all young guys. If Steve Nelson goes down opposite Darius Slay, or if Darius Slay goes down, you know what? You better start sprinkling some holy water because it's going to be bomb city against that secondary. So there
goes my ulcer medicine. I got to take my ulcer medicine.
There you go.
Yep.
6-7 wins to me is a realistic number in what Jeffrey Lurie deemed to be a transitional year.
Right.
I think that's fair. Anything above that is gravy.
Gravy. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, we got to take a short time out. We haven't taken a break yet, Derrick. You can stay with us if you want. You can stay as long as you want. That's what Eitan's rule. Yeah. And even though he's not here today, we're going to still let that apply. But we're going to take a 3-minute timeout. We'll be back with more on the middle with Harry Mays and Barrett Brooks here on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.